Thank you to eSIM.io for sponsoring this video.
Clerk versus crook. It's a smash and grab pepper spray battle inside a SoCal store.
Those smash and grab crooks came armed with pepper spray, but they didn't count on the clerk having some too.
So California's crime wave is not slowing down, making this place officially a war zone, where armed thieves are now making moves at all hours of the day, robbing homes and businesses like there's no tomorrow. Meanwhile, local sanctuary police only seem to arrive after the chaos has ended. And because of California's revolving door legal system, it looks like the mayhem here is gonna continue until there's nothing left.
It all started with a young man holding open the door. Then all of a sudden, the mob storms inside, heading straight for the display cases with plastic bags in hand. The employee pulls something from behind his back and points it at them, then drops it and grabs pepper spray instead.
We believe they were watching us.
In this angle, you can see a black car pull up and then 3 people with masks and hoodies get out and walk toward a side gate.
All of a sudden, he realized they're burglars.
It was closing time when a large group of men vandalized the taco truck and assaulted the employees. During the attack, the violent mob yelled expletives in English and Spanish.
LA County today voting to declare a state of emergency that gives them power to provide assistance for residents they say have suffered financially from ongoing federal immigration raids.
Funds for rent will be available to people who apply via an online portal, and that's supposed to be launched within 2 months. Now, they're also reporting that local state of emergency can funnel state money for legal aid as well as other services.
So if your Los Angeles business is struggling, the city will help you out as long as you blame ICE for all your problems. And what nobody's talking about is this anti-law enforcement attitude is exactly why many of California's sanctuaries are falling apart in real time, and why the crime problems here are only getting worse. You see, it's one thing to hate on police and defund them, and it's one thing to be a sanctuary city that harbors criminals and attracts them, but when you start funding those who benefit from lawlessness, you're gonna have real problems. And now, predatory businesses that benefited from an open border hire people illegally, they're gonna get a bailout? That's crazy. Meanwhile, there are so many criminals in this place that plundering a law-abiding business or committing robbery now happens all the time in broad daylight. Thugs no longer feel the need to conceal their activities because they're unafraid of any consequence for their behavior. Which brings us to the real reason this place is turning into a total war zone. You can't encourage lawlessness and fund lawlessness and not expect total anarchy to take over, which is exactly what's happening. And no business or homeowner here wants to be the next sob story, losing everything after years of success are annihilated by mere minutes of crime. But sadly, that's what's happening all over the place, yet local officials say it's ICE's fault businesses are shutting down. It's ICE's fault these places can't pay their bills, which totally disregards the grave these people have been digging for themselves in California for decades.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not a thriving environment for anything except more criminal behavior, which continues to take over more and more of this sanctuary on a daily basis.
Aquí están las personas detenidas, chicos.
Executing a lawful criminal search warrant that was signed and approved by a federal judge.
So we're now protecting one type of business that benefits from illegal activity while those who don't get nothing? That's crazy. And it seems totally unfair that businesses losing millions because of state-sponsored robberies and burglaries don't get a state of emergency as well, when it's the state that's refused to lock up these criminals and in some cases has attracted criminals because of its sanctuary policies that won't turn fugitives over to the federal government. And as you're about to see, all this does is tell the criminal underworld in this place to keep on rolling, which is exactly what it's doing. If you travel internationally, you know the hassle of trying to use your phone somewhere else. Roaming charges are insane, and getting a local SIM card, I mean, give me a break. Get out of here. That's a mess. And that's why you need to know about eSIM.io. Here's how it works. You just download the app and it gives you two simple options. You can use the pay-as-you-go feature, top up your balance once and get data in over 180 countries, or you can grab a discounted regional plan. For example, right now you can get 50% off all data in Europe. But the best part is you'll get $5 free in your account if you use my code, which is right here on the screen. Just enter it during setup, and on top of all this, if you install eSIM.io and use their one SIM feature, it works everywhere. And any balance you don't completely max out rolls over for your next trip. It's honestly a game changer. So the next time you travel anywhere, instead of hunting around for a Wi-Fi signal or looking for a Starbucks, don't mess with any of that. Download eSIM.io, use the code right here. It will also be in the video description. Now, let's get back to the video.
You can see at least 3 people dressed in all black wearing hoodies ransacking this bedroom of an Encino home. You can see one of them going into a closet. At one point in the video, you can even hear one of the burglars speaking with someone on what appears to be a walkie-talkie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we good? Yeah, y'all good,
That sounds like a lookout who's out in the street watching to make sure that the police aren't on their way, that the homeowner's not coming back. This is a sophisticated operation with multiple people involved in it. And the idea that this guy right here wearing all black, that he got up this morning and had a job and a family and just said, you know what, I'm not gonna go to work and provide for my family today. I'm gonna go out and rob homes with my friends, and just made an accidental wrong choice. I mean, that's just a totally ridiculous fallacy. These are professional criminals. These are people who are protected by a justice system that handicaps police, that doesn't have enough police, and that strings these homeowners and the law-abiding out to dry. And where's the bailout for these people whose bedroom is getting torn apart right now? Where's the bailout for the people whose backyards are getting busted into and their homes ransacked? That's not happening.
The LAPD says this burglary happened on October 12th, early in the afternoon.
They
say at least 3 to 4 people were involved.
They don't care.
No.
They just come in.
And here in North Hollywood, Leah Young says burglars attempted to break into her home on Tuesday at about 3:45 in the afternoon.
What's wild about this is it's broad daylight. Any security camera can capture way more detail in broad daylight. That's why if you're a thief, the best thing you can do is strike at night. It conceals your activity. But look, these people, they don't care about that. They're just walking around the property, looking in the windows. They're not worried about the neighbors. They're not worried about the police. They're not even worried about the homeowner.
Watching us leave and saw us back out of our driveway.
Young says her husband was home at the time on a Zoom call. She shared this video with NBC4. In this angle, you can see a black car pull up and then 3 people with masks and hoodies get out and walk toward a side gate.
They're driving a BMW?
He realized they have masks and they're hooded. They're burglars.
In this part of the video, you can hear her husband.
Oh, there they go.
Burglars then take off running.
He jumped up.
They were watching this home. They already knew that they wanted to go in there. And these are not random acts of crime. These are not opportunistic criminals that just see something happening and decide to take action. No, they've got a plan. They know where they're going. They know what's inside, and they know about how much money they'll be able to make from it. And that is just incredibly frightening when you think about it. They're not robbing homes that don't have treasure inside. And as you're about to see, they're not robbing businesses without anything inside of them either.
Sudden, the mob storms inside, heading straight for the display cases with plastic bags in hand. A wild pepper spray showdown explodes as suspects spray back without hesitation.
Look at them just cleaning the place out.
What feels like minutes lasts only seconds.
Seconds.
And the thieves bolt out the door with bags full of phones and computers.
This is lawlessness. And it's so frightening that things have fallen to this level where you essentially have anarchy on the streets. This is what you get if you don't enforce the law and you don't lock up criminals. No criminal who thinks there's serious consequences for their actions is going to do something like this in the middle of the day when they could get caught. And store owners know that in a place, a law and order place that locks these people up, makes them do time, makes them pay back damages, that the likelihood of something like this happening is very slim. But apparently, this store, it's one of three, and all three have been robbed at some point over the last few months. So it's like thieves are looking at this business at all of its locations and have made a plan to clear out each store. Now, how do you do that if these are random acts of theft, as we're supposed to believe by decriminalization experts who like to tell us, oh yeah, you know, putting people in jail is bad for society. I mean, look, leaving these criminals on the street so that they can plan where to commit crime and make that their full-time job, that's worse for society than a jail full of people experiencing consequences for evil behavior.
LA County today voting to declare a state of emergency that gives them power to provide assistance for residents they say have suffered financially from ongoing federal immigration raids. The move allows the LA County Board of Supervisors to provide rent relief for tenants who have fallen behind as a result of the crackdown on immigrants. The immigration raids.
That's crazy. So if you are benefiting from a formerly open U.S. border, or you're benefiting from illegal immigration in some way, and now you don't have any money, they will give you money. That is just absolutely crazy. They're saying that the cause of this state of emergency are Americans doing the job of protecting America inside our country, removing fugitives from the street. They find gang members. They find people linked to Tren de Aragua and Mexican cartels living in these sanctuary cities. That's who they're pulling off the street. And the state is going to say, oh, we need a state of emergency because fugitives are being removed from America. That's crazy. And as you're about to see, there are states of emergency in California. It's just they're not getting any attention for some reason. Look at these guys.
It was closing time when a large group of men vandalized the taco truck and assaulted the employees. It happened Sunday night at midnight. During the attack, the violent mob yelled expletives in English and Spanish. The owner didn't want us to show his face or use his name out of concern for his safety.
This is like a gang destroying small businesses, probably in some sort of extortion attempt, or maybe they were hired by a competitor to come and destroy these taco trucks and put these guys out of business, teach them not to come around this part of the neighborhood anymore. That's a state of emergency. These are the businesses that really need a bailout. And you don't even have to bail out businesses affected by this type of state of emergency. You've just got to fund your police force. You've just got to catch these people that aren't even wearing masks and put them behind bars. Jails and jumpsuits make a lot of sense to people who run around with baseball bats and break things that belong to the law-abiding. But if we're not going to give them that, why are we surprised that any of what we're witnessing here is happening? Why are we surprised at all that this real state of emergency exists in this place and is state-sponsored to an extent? Because the state doesn't want to end it. But as you're about to see, there are some opportunistic angles to the crime being committed in California. In fact, there's so much crime, some people are just getting robbed randomly by professionals who are on their way to do something much worse.
And then all of a sudden, I hear some yelling behind me. I turn around, and there were three masked men, all dressed in black. And they threw this guy down on the ground. They weren't turning him around. They were like ripping the jewelry off of him. He had a necklace. They ripped it off. They took his watch, and they had two guns, and there was a crowbar because there were three people.
That's crazy.
That attacked him, and then there was one person in the car that when they got back in the car, they just drove away.
Now, what's fascinating about this is these guys, look what they're wearing. They're wearing the same outfits as our home invaders from earlier. They're all dressed up. They're totally concealed. They look like they're headed to either rob a home or to ransack a store. They're armed. They're in a crew. It's the middle of the afternoon. They were on their way to do something else, and they saw this guy on the street, and they said, you know what? Let's make a quick pit stop here at the drive-thru and commit what's essentially a drive-by robbery.
They weren't even following him. They just stopped, saw him walking, and just threw him on the ground and stole everything.
They were on their way to rob something else. They were on their way to do something worse, and they saw a target, and they said, you know what, we're going to take it. And that right there is a state of emergency. When you've got criminals who are on their way to do something and they commit more crimes on the way over there, they obviously fear nothing. They obviously know that nothing is going to happen. They know they can pull off a heist and escape and then go do their other heist. They're not worried at all. And is the state going to help in any way to stop this from happening? Of course not. They're too busy with other things.
Funds for rent will be available to people who apply via an online portal, and that's supposed to be launched within 2 months.
That's
now,
so
they're also
wild.
reporting that local state of emergency can funnel state money for legal aid as well as other services. Now,
so people who are in the country illegally in Los Angeles, they're going to get money for lawyers. They're going to get money for rent. And businesses that hired fugitives who shouldn't even be here, who likely committed identity fraud to even get that job in the first place, disenfranchising the community that we're told is under assault by ICE, those people that hired them, they're going to get help too. So what we're doing here is we're propping up a criminal enterprise. And we shouldn't be surprised that criminals get the message in California that, you know what, in this place, you're protected. In this place, we don't have enough police to stop you. If we do catch you, you'll likely be released because a lot of your actions have already been decriminalized. On top of that, if you're in the country illegally and you need help with a lawyer, if you're going to get deported, we'll help you with that. We will give you money for that. We'll even help you pay your rent. That is so bizarre, but it totally explains why we're seeing California completely fall apart at this point. What do you think about that? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.